this is the third module, facilitate learning. And we are just going to give an overview of what the module will be focusing on. And before we do that, because this is not our first session, we already know each other in terms of names. And I can see that we have Connie, we have Lucy, we have Duduzi, and we also have Mulifi. And I'm not going to ask you who you are, but I want to know what your experience is in facilitating learning. You can raise up your hand and just brief us on what your experience is in terms of facilitating learning in your work environment or wherever. Yes, Duduzi?
Okay, hi, Fuller. From my side, I'm in charge of our internal training. So I cover our warranty training, which covers your Dell, your HP, Lenovo, Lexmark, and so forth. And I also look after our training academy. We've got a training academy, and we cover the NQF4s, NQF5, and the internships as well.
Okay. That was Mduduzi. Any other person? Connie, Lucy, and Mulifi, what is your experience in facilitating? And thank you, Mduduzi. Mulifi?
So myself and Didi work for the same organization, even though we don't work in the same departments. So from my side, I would say used to be in the field, used to be responsible for the training of the new staff that would come in. I did account management at some time. I'd be responsible for training the national teams on what the contract requirements were. And yeah, I think from my side, it's that.
It's also on training, and you have some experience in induction and so on. Thank you,
Yes,
Mulifi. And Lucy?
Yeah, so I work in the same organization as Mulifi and Duduzi. I come from a different environment. I was doing procurement for quite some time, and now I've just been hired in HR department. It's been 3 months, 2 minutes.
Okay.
So hence I'm doing the course. So yeah.
Sorry, 3 months, 2 minutes.
Yeah, it's not long. It's not very long.
That's how she's quantifying it.
Because it's forever saying I'm in HR, but I've just joined and know nothing about HR.
Not really, Lucy. I don't think
Mulifi is
you
always
hardly
saying
know
you are
anything.
in HR, you're supposed to know these answers. I know nothing. I've just joined the department.
Nothing, I refuse.
I also
There's something that
refuse.
you know.
I know it.
You know why? Because you have also been an employee, so somehow
Yes.
HR related aspects were being applied on you, or you also did some of the things in HR unknowingly or not realizing that you are part of HR.
Okay, if you put it
And I
that
guess
way.
the guys agree with me.
Yes, we
Duduzi
do.
agrees. Duduzi agrees.
Yes, they do.
My take is she's in HR already. Please just give her the certificate.
She's an HR already, because in other organizations, even with procurement, is part of HR.
No, it's not.
Thank you. And Connie?
Good morning and
Good
confidence of the
morning.
new season.
Thank you.
Okay. Yes, from my own experience, I'm not sure I've ever been involved in facilitating learning, So, but as I said before, I'm coming from a school where my work is to make sure that the learners are informed are communicated before the class, the day of the class, and they are in class on time that day. But what is happening in the class, I'm not really involved there, so I wouldn't say I know.
So you are a coordinator in a school
Yes.
who communicates with learners mostly on the logistics of the learning sessions, but you are hardly, or you have been hardly in the class itself.
Yes, I'm not always in the class.
Okay. Thank you, Connie. But I guess you are also, this is very relevant to you too, because it has to do with the learning or facilitation of the learning. Thank you guys for the experiences that you have shared with me. With some of you, it has been revision. And because we have done some session together, I'm not going to go back to the Regenesis integrated model, but the little one thing that I might have to say is that the external environment and the internal environment, which is your institution, they have some relationship, because one change in the other can have a ripple effect on the other. And like within the institution that you are based in, the learning that has to take place can be influenced by what is happening outside, because the institution might want to be in line or conversant or to be the right fit with what is happening outside it, and vice versa, so that the institution can serve the communities outside it with relevant skills that are required for the effectiveness of businesses and so on, and even communities development and many more. And again, I'm not also going to really concentrate on the Regenesis graduate attributes, as we have talked about that as graduates from Regenesis, we will envisage that by the end of the session or the program itself, you should be able to possess or to have the graduate attributes that are shown there, like your grounding your decision in evidence, like thinking differently, and lead consciously and so on, harness diversity and so on. We have talked about this, and we will continuously apply this in whatever that we are learning. Now, as we look at this, I want you to, for those who have been or who have facilitated before, I want you to look at your facilitation and come up with either something that was very funny to you, or just identify an attribute that can best describe you as a facilitator. And for those who have never facilitated before, because you have been, somehow a delegate of a facilitation session, I want you to identify something that made that facilitation, one specific facilitation session, very funny, interesting, or whichever aspect that you want to choose or you have learned from that session. Mulifi, your hand was quick to be raised. Yes, Mulifi. Something is
Yeah,
burning.
and the reason why my hand was quick to raise is because someone is going to steal this. So
Okay.
there's a
Before they
video
steal
going.
it.
Yeah, there's a video going around, and I'm sure everyone has seen it, right? It's of a guy that's actually in class. He's offering training, right? And it's just after the festive season. So this other guy comes in with refreshments. So he gives him 2 bottles of juice, right? So because he was just in the festive season and he's used to opening up alcohol, you know how you open up, let's say you've got
Yes,
a
yes.
do you know how you use the other bottle to open the other bottle? So this
Yes,
guy is
yes.
busy with training in that
Not that
meeting
I've done
room.
that before, but I've seen that.
Yeah, so he's busy in that training room, right? So they gave him two bottles of juices. So because he's busy giving this training and whatnot, he takes the juice bottles and mimics how he would open a what you call it, an alcoholic beverage, and then people just look at him. So I found that very funny, and I think it relates to what you're asking.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. That was really funny indeed. And it's quite interesting how, you know, when you have done something so often, you end up not even thinking, but you just apply it. Thank you.
Mlife,
Connie,
isn't
yes,
that
Connie.
coming? Oh, sorry.
Oh, there was Mududuzi talking, and then Connie was also blinking, so I thought she wanted to say something.
No, I was not talking. My apologies.
Okay. Mududuzi?
Oh, thanks. Okay. One thing about our sessions, Pulufula, I see you very formal, raising hands and acknowledging that the person that has raised the hand. We normally just go at it without even raising hands. But
Because
anyway,
you are not too many, it's okay, you can do that.
yes, yes, you're right. Now, I was going to say to Mulife, isn't that what you just related? Part of the advert as well. There's an ad around that where a presenter in a meeting is trying to open a bottle of water, but he's using a bottle to open it, and everyone just stares at him.
Mhm.
Yes, it is the
Yeah.
same.
Yeah, there's an air around that. And from my side, Fulufelo and the team, I once ran a session where, I will start my sessions in the morning, and I had one pregnant lady that was attending, not that I'm picking up on ladies, and she just went on me, asking for breakfast, that she's not going to start this training without breakfast. And I just found it so funny because I said, but you are at work, and when you start your work, the company does not offer you breakfast. So this is treated as work as usual. And yeah, she just wouldn't budge to that.
And how did she feel, or what was the response?
Well, I had to give her time off to go to the canteen and order breakfast, and I had to start the training just 30 minutes later. I mean, I could understand. I mean, I did understand that she was pregnant and she needed something to eat before she could, before we could run with the training. But
That was
yeah,
very kind of you. And to the rest of the group, was it necessary? Why was that necessary? If yes, and why was it not necessary? If your answer is no.
All for one, one for all.
All for one for all.
Yes.
Which means
When in Rome, you do what the Romans do.
What could be the other reason why Mduduzi had to respond positively to the plea?
One, she's pregnant. Two, she's a lady. Three, it just improves the group's morale or the group's attitude towards the facilitator.
Yes, I
Because you know
wanted
what?
to hear
Yeah,
that
you don't
one.
want people starting off on a bad note. It's like you, nah?
Mhm.
I think if you come across very aggressive and whatnot, we disengage. Do you understand? And you don't want it. You want people that are gonna talk to you, interact with you. Do you understand? So I think it's quite key that people like the facilitator.
Thank you, thank you. It's quite important that you need to be sensitive to the people you are interacting with. And one, because you make them feel that they are part of the session. Two, you also help them to engage fully when they realize that their needs are taken care of. And just not long, Duduzi said, you know, in our session, normally we don't even raise up hands. We just, you know, shoot. And then I said, oh, it's okay because you're not even too many. It doesn't disrupt anything. Because remember, we must make the session as what welcoming as possible. And when people feel that they are part of the session, they can always engage fully. They can always feel that they are comfortable. And of course, sensitivity, the fact that she is pregnant, it makes her to be a bit different from others. And when others, you know, treat her as such and make sure that they are, I mean, she's part of them and they are considerate of the fact that she is in that moment or stage, then that also makes her feel good about herself and about every other person and the session itself, and which is also part of why our facilitation session should be inclusive, should be also, you know, look into accommodating everyone. Thank you. And the ladies, I didn't hear anything from you, Connie and Lucy. Anything that
Okay.
you have noticed? Yes, Connie?
As I said, I've never been a facilitator. So, but I've once been in the class where I attended emotional intelligence, and what I learned, what I took home there was I've learned to manage my own emotions and the emotions of others. So what it took me to, I mean, what did, what did he did to the lady? Did he manage his emotions? It's not like he was not provoked by the actions of a lady, but he was able to manage his emotions and manage the emotions of a lady also, and everything went very well.
Mm-hmm. Very good. Very good. Thank you. Thank you. Mulifi, another
A
hand.
question, yeah, a question for Connie though. Where's the line though, Connie? Do you think there's a line though? Because if, and I'm just asking, right? So you're saying that Didi managed his EQ. So what happens if Didi says yes to this lady? Someone else says, listen, I need to go do shopping. Someone else says, listen, I need to go pick up my kids. Where's the defined
Mm-hmm.
line? How do we manage such things? It would be interesting to hear.
Remember, before you conduct a class, you should have the class rules. So, but that one, it happened before the class started. Obviously, you just have to consider that she's pregnant and there's nothing you can do. You just have to allow her. But not everybody has to get that permission.
I wish I was in Didi's shoes because she was going nowhere. She was sitting there and attending class.
And remember, when you do it like that, you must also be considerate of what the response or what can lead into. Because again, you can find her going in and out or responding. Remember the mood swings and stuff like that of a pregnant lady. Are you still
That's
here?
true. Yeah, that's
Mm,
true.
mm.
Just a quick one. Yolanda is also joining. Apparently, she was traveling to Bank City. She's just switching on her laptop and she will be joining us shortly.
Thank you for the update. But thank you. And just to quickly go into Connie's issue that Duduzi also had a follow-up. Was it Mulifi had a follow-up question on that one? You know, as a facilitator, you also need to be assertive, just a man like a manager and a leader will be. You need to be assertive. You need to apply your mind on what is right and how to apply things, because every situation will qualify for its own merit. You know, it will all depend on what is happening, when is it happening, and the reasoning behind what is happening. And then you can always apply your mind. And one answer cannot always fit all the situations. It cannot be fit for all the situations, and hence you need to apply your mind, the reasoning, and so on. Thank you, guys. Did I miss Lucy? Yes, Lucy? Lucy, are you here? It does seem like we are missing her. And
No,
just
she's
also,
there.
she's
She
there.
doesn't want to talk. Yeah, she must talk. Lucy, we're waiting.
I thought the waiting was a
Maybe she
little
went
bit
home.
long and therefore she's not around.
She went to make some coffee.
I hope so, but she owes us, ne? So look, guys, like we had our sessions before. The ground rules will still be the same, and that is just what we have been doing. So we don't need to go there again, unless if there's something that we are missing out that you want to raise. Connie is blinking. Is there something from you, Connie? Did you see?
I think with Connie, she keeps on blinking there because she's not muted. Anyway, can we just add on the ground rules that when we go through the modules, we also touch base on the FAs. The reason why I'm bringing that up is that we spend so much time trying to understand some of the questions on the FA because some of the questions don't make sense, and a lot of the questions are repetitive, and that's it's just throwing us under the bus or you know.
I get you. So, but normally I would also go through the FA's questions because, you know, the idea being that I want you to complete the POE as soon as possible. So definitely we are going to go through the formative assessments.
That will help a lot.
And
Thank
I
you
will
so much.
also give you some time to just go through the formative assessment while I'm also here in class with you so that you know exactly how to approach those questions.
Thank you so much.
You are welcome. Mulifi, your hand is up.
Sorry, can I also ask something? Since we're not in COVID times anymore, is it also maybe possible to, because what Didi's mentioning is very important. Maybe, I don't know, take one of the classes as well and make it a questions type class. We can even maybe come to Regenesis if need be, because Didi's right. You know what? Some of these questions, it's like, especially with the last one, I think it was FA 12 and 13. Exactly the same. So you don't know whether you're
Was
doing
it deal
something
with
wrong or something
legislation?
right. Huh?
Was it the module deal with legislation?
It was, what was it, Didi? Is it legislation? I can't remember, but yeah. So
But
the point
anyway,
is, yeah, there's instances where like question 12 and 13 or FA 12 and 13 are exactly the same, wording,
was it not
everything.
an error maybe?
That's the thing. We don't know. Do you understand? So you sit there
But
questioning
remember,
yourself.
if you have questions like those, you just also, you know, number them accordingly and still give the same response so that you do not, you know, miss some marks because
Okay.
you didn't respond to that one.
Okay, cool. But like I said, if you guys can, I think at class, maybe at Regenesis, if everyone is in agreement, especially there by the end, then we just come, you know, raise some questions, get some assistance. That would be nice. Welcome, Yolanda.
I wouldn't mind to do that with you, but remember, into more facilitation, that coordination and, you know, scheduling and so on, Butali can respond to that one if he's still here with us.
I second that, but let me just warn Mulife. COVID is coming back. The numbers, the government is hiding the numbers. My wife is working for SAPRA, and the SAPRA, they got a lot of doctors that actually do all the tests and pass all these vaccines and this and that. And the doctors are saying the numbers are there. The government is just hiding them. Just be careful.
It can come back if it never left. That's what I'm going to say.
So he's agreeing that it is there. It's not really coming back, but it has never gone.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's there. It's just that the hospitals are not full, and yeah. Anyway, please
Okay.
take care.
But in
Folufelo.
essence, guys, I don't mind if the precautions are there to ensure that the measures are taken. I can meet with you on the time when you want, provided I'm not scheduled for another thing, which is also part of what Butari can ensure it happens.
Yeah.
Mm.
Folufelo,
So
just
just
on the
maybe
previous slide.
also, come again?
On the previous slide, just go one
On
back.
the previous slide.
Yeah,
It is
under
just
ground rules, can we add one extra thing here? Can we start
Yes.
penalizing people that come to the sessions late? Maybe they can buy us lunch if they're late.
And that lunch will be served online.
Send it to people's houses.
Or are you doing this prior our last two sessions or last session where we will be maybe at Regenesis?
Yes, that will work.
So maybe on that one we can just agree that, guys, because it's only 2 hours, if we can just start immediately at 9 o'clock, so that at least we can have enough time to engage. Are we agreeing?
I say 5 to 9, just to make sure that everyone is
5 to 9, so that
yeah.
by 9 exactly we are starting.
Yeah.
Are we all agreeing, guys?
I
Yep.
second the motion from Comrade
Yes.
Gasa.
Thank you, thank you.
I support.
We are 4 now.
I support.
Yes, 5, and it's majority rules, ne? So can we move on, guys? So the purpose or objective of this program, it is intended for you all guys who either are in, the HR or training, or who will want to do that in future and so on. And this will help people who need to demonstrate understanding of the outcome-based education, to conduct an organizational needs analysis regarding, the gaps that are there in skills, and to facilitate learning using a variety of given methodologies, and those who will want to develop own ability to provide a business advisory service for SMMEs, and to use language and communication strategies for vocational and occupational learning. And already, as we have been engaging, you will realize that we have talked about the outcome-based education. We have talked about the National Qualification Framework, among others. We have also talked about, HR-related terms and stuff like that are in line with the training and development. So this is the kind of language that this aspect is referring to. And what are your expectations? And according to Shakespeare, the date is not known. Expectation is the root of all heartache. And I'm coming back to the same question. What are your expectations from this module? Any expectations from this module? By the way, the module is facilitate learning.
So the expectations would be to be a proper facilitator within the organizations that we're in.
to be a proper facilitator. That is
I
one of the-
understand the rules around facilitation.
Understand the rules around facilitation. Any other expectation? Can we agree to move on and say that with all of us, we have the common expectations to be a proper facilitator or proper facilitators and to understand the rules and regulations around facilitating in an organization. And needs and expectations, like we've said, the credit calculation is based on the assumption that those starting to learn towards this unit standard are already competent in aspects such as communication at NQF level 5 or equivalent, and they can communicate verbally and in writing at NQF level 5, the computer literate, they at NQF level 3, mathematical literacy at NQF level 4, and it is assumed that people starting to learn towards this standard are able to use variety of techniques for gathering, ordering, recording, and reporting data that is research related, and then to use best planning practices. And it is also assumed that the learners who are doing this unit standard, they can do the credit calculation, which is based on the assumption that learners are already competent in learning area in which they will provide training, terms of the following outcomes or areas of learning, which is NQF level 4, and that they can use language and communication in occupational learning programs. And these are some of just the aspects that need to be done. And the process that need to be followed is the same as we have said in the previous module. So the HR cycle, we have also concentrated on the previous module, where we looked into what the module should be focusing on. And in general, it is retention and development. It is applying the skills or closing the skills gaps with the aim of ensuring that the employees within an organization are retained and they are also developed. And remember, the issue of retaining employees and development or developing them is quite related to the costs incurred by the organization. And besides that, the skills are also, in some ways, they are promoted by the different SETAs, because remember, there is some levy that is paid and a certain percentage will come back if the organization is ensuring that there is some development of skills on their employees within their organizations. So it is highly incentivized. So the learning path here, we have already done LP1, LP2, and we are now into LP3, and we are still left with LP4 up to LP10. That is from conducting skills development facilitation to managing change or manage change. And I guess if you have something to say, you will shoot like you have said earlier on, and you can also use your reactions like raising up your hands and so on. And the program overview, we have done it, the previous time, and it's all about the different learning units that we are going to do. And here, by the end of this module, these are the learning outcomes of this module. By the end of this module, which is facilitate learning, we should be able to understand how to facilitate HR advisory services. The HR advisory services will include all the necessary activities or functions that are done or applied by the HR department within any organization. and to also analyze the organization's current situation, that is ensuring that you look or assess into gaps that are there within the organization so that you'll be able to see how to close the gaps that are there. And they should be able, or at the end of this, we should be able to plan to facilitate learning and to prepare, to facilitate learning. So there's planning. Planning will, show the process of how you are going to go about it. In the preparation, you will also, somehow sort of prepare the things that you are going to do in class and how you are going to do that, and the logistical arrangements that are required for the environment to be conducive for the learning to take place, and to facilitate and evaluate learning itself. And this will include the different methodologies and so on, and to develop the HR advisory practice, and to also develop yourself, because time and again, as a facilitator, you as an individual within an organization, there could be other changes that are happening externally, like we have experienced last year and 2 years ago. And like Duduzi said, that COVID did not go, so we can't say it has come back. So this has brought a lot of changes in the facilitation arena, in the skills development arena. Most of the sessions that we used to do face-to-face, we are doing them online because of that. And that means we also need to change how we do things. And therefore, it boils back into developing ourselves as the then face-to-face facilitators to the now online facilitators. So it's not just about, developing the organization or the learning department, but also the individual themselves, the facilitator themselves. They need to also learn how to do things differently so that it can be in line with what is happening in the real world now. Because remember, your organization does not operate in a vacuum, but it operates in a space where it is in direct, competition with the other organizations. So therefore, whatever that is done within should be relevant and in line, and the organization should always keep itself abreast of the latest developments with the aim of ensuring that it's always on top of the game. Are we still here, guys?
Present.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I hope what I've been saying makes sense to you, and that's why you are quiet. But if there's something that you think it still needs to be clarified on what I've just said, we can talk about it.
Let me jump in here.
Yes.
So the guys from TCM will back me up here. HR and facilitators, they work separately in our organization. And at the end of the month, the facilitators, because you get different facilitators, for technical, you have guys that do ATM training, that give ATM training. We have guys that do laptops and laptops and desktop and printers and so forth. And at the end of the day, at the end of the month, they will send reports of how many guys they've trained. They will give their names and the register and what type of training they've conducted. So I'm just trying to understand when you're saying an HR personnel will be preparing and planning the facilitation in an organization. The way I see it is that an HR personnel will receive the information from the trainers to say, this is what has been covered in that particular month.
Yes, Mduduzi, is it Mduduzi?
Yes.
Yes, Mduduzi. Remember, HR is an umbrella that has different components, and part of its components will be that one which deals with the development of personnel. And under the development of personnel, it could also be divided into a lot of things. And that's where I think you are touching. So you'll have, depending on the organization, like your organization will be different from the other organization. So you have, like you have said, the technical ones and so on. And of course, they will be dependent on the gaps or the information that they will receive from the HR so that they know what needs or how many needs to be trained and on what and so on. Analysis of the gap could be done, from the lowest level, and HR is informed, and that information will go back into what are the organizational needs. Are we together?
Yeah, I'm following you.
Okay. So now unit 1 is facilitate HR advisory services. So what are the HR advisory services? Before we go into that, what are we going to gather in this unit? The learning unit outcomes will be to identify and practice a professional and ethical framework appropriate to the business advisory practice according to the organizational guidelines and requirements, meaning that in this section, we are going to be able to identify and also learn how to practice a professional and ethical framework which is appropriate to an organization or to a business advisory practice in accordance with organizational guidelines and that organization's requirements. And the other aspect or learning outcome would be to understand facilitation and how to facilitate the HR function, and to also monitor own activity in dealing with the clients of SMME. So these are the specific learning outcomes for this unit. And the HR practices or processes we are referring to will be, or
Hello.
We have lost her.
Oh,
Can't hear.
okay. I thought I was the only one. Okay. That's good. Class is out. Yippee. Dumela Yolanda. Yeketseng. Happy New Year, guys.
Hello, Malifi. Good
How
morning,
are you?
everyone. I'm great, thanks. And how are you? Sorry I'm late, guys.
Yeah.
I'm here.
That's
Morning,
good,
everyone.
man.
Compliments.
Hey,
again.
Yeketseng.
Hi. Compliments. Happy New Year.
No, we stopped the compliments 2 weeks ago. Sorry. I'm
Wow.
not there anymore.
Yeah, you know that whether
You don't get to make the rules, Malifi. Please. They don't
Compliments,
apply.
hey.
Your rules doesn't
Compliments,
apply
eh?
here.
On the 14th. Icon, never.
There's nothing wrong with that, guys.
There's a deadline. After the 7th, there's no more compliments.
Deadline. You're taking deadline.
Are you training today, by the way, Yolanda?
What's going on? There's a Vurva.
She's gone, Baba. Shawi Eskom.
What are Malifi?
Mulefe is happening. It's going on. Oh, Mulefe.
Lucy, ulumile laptop.
Okay, lumile ka meno.
Sorry
Welcome
about
back.
that, but I've just rejoined. Yeah, it was the network, but just surprised because I didn't have electricity then, and now when it's coming back, I'm cutting off. But nevertheless, let me just share the slides. And we were busy with the specific learning outcomes of this unit, Unit 1. So those were the learning outcomes. And while we are waiting for it to open, maybe we can just also look into the important 4 ingredients that are required for effective facilitation. The HR knowledge.
Yeah, it's fine.
It's on.
It's gonna move. Just go and check if it's connected, right? In
there.
yeah.
Are you also struggling on the other side?
With
Oh, sorry. I'm just speaking to my son to start the pump.
Oh,
Sorry.
okay. So it's just taking a little bit longer to open. But can you see the slides? Can you see purpose or objective of this program?
Yes, it's up.
It's up there. So we have done that part, but I'm just struggling to get back to where we are, but it seems like it's going there now.
okay, thank you.
It's just taking a long time to go back, but we are on.
Okay.
So because I just don't want us to waste any time, let's look at the important ingredients, 4 ingredients that are required for effective facilitation or for an effective role to be played in facilitation. You have the HR knowledge, you have the capabilities, you have credibility, and also courageous leadership. So these are the 4 most important aspects that are required for an effective facilitation role to be played. And I want us in I'm not going to divide you into any group, but I want you, because you are not that many, but I want you to discuss these issues as a group. You can just mention 1 example of each, up to 2 examples on these ingredients for an effective facilitation of HR knowledge, capabilities, credibility, and also courageous leadership. I hope now we can quickly go there so that I can show you what I want us to look at this in our group, in a group setup where we are going to discuss the knowledge that is required. You have bulletin there or bullets there. Under HR knowledge, how does HR develop its own knowledge? What is good underpinning HR knowledge? And how does HR stay up to date? And under capabilities, how are opportunities sought to enable HR to develop its capabilities? And how do you know how capable you are as an HR team? How do you assess whether you have the right capability to balance for the team? And under credibility, you look into what does HR do to ensure the business believes and treats its HR capabilities and its solution? And how does HR develop its overall credibility? And under courageous leadership, what are you doing to ensure that you are successful tomorrow? So that is pro-action. How ready are you to take risks, try new things despite the fear of rejection? And the last aspect will be, are you willing to put your neck on the line to be heard, to challenge or to break the common routine or the mold? So let's look into this and look at important aspects that we can refer to under those 4 ingredients of professional framework appropriate to business advisory practices. Did you hear me, guys?
Loud and clear.
So let's use this 15 minutes. Because you are less than 8, I can't divide you into pairs, but let's do it. I'm going to just switch off my microphone so that I don't hear anything. What is it? Yes, I'm going to switch my speakers off so that I don't hear what you are discussing as you discuss this, and then we can have feedback after 1, 2, 3. Let's use 5 minutes. 5 minutes will be too long. At least 15 minutes for all in all. So it's 1/4 by 1/2 we should be done with this.
Okay, it looks like the bulk of the team is having issues with connections. I
Is
see
it?
Lucy's, yeah, Lucy, Yolanda. It's all the ladies. Connie as well.
So it's only the 2 of you who are here, or rather let's just discuss this in plenary.
Okay.
Like in a class, I won't switch off anything. Let's talk around the HR knowledge that is required for playing a good advisory business practice. The capabilities that are required and credibility, and even the courageous leadership that is required. We can start with any. Am I only with the guys? Yolandi, you are welcome.
Hi,
So
thank you.
Oh, sorry.
It's okay.
Go ahead, Yolanda. We're listening.
Why are you putting me on the spot? But anyway, Fulu, I missed the part where you were explaining. You're saying, what is it that we need to discuss?
Hey, Yolandi, I don't remember exactly at what point you came in, but what we have just done is just to say what we are doing today is facilitate learning. And we did say the learning outcomes and stuff like that by then, which by the end of the module, in fact, by the sometime in February, when we are done, we should be able to understand all that. So now the question is, for HR to play, remember HR becomes, sort of a service provider to the business. So therefore, as a HR, there are some business advisory practices that it needs to be involved with. And for it to be done effectively, it must have some knowledge, some capabilities, some credibility, and also courageous leadership. And the question here is that let's come up with examples of how HR can apply these aspects effectively. Like, how can it offer knowledge? What knowledge is required? The capabilities that are required that can deem it more effective, credibility that is necessary, and in what form can it play courageous leadership and serve the business better? That's what we are doing.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. And we can start discussing now because we don't want the network to interfere with our progress anymore. And that's why we are not breaking away anymore.
Okay, I think with ours, not in a bad way, but we sort of like need a bit of increased communication. So when it comes to their communication skills, they should communicate better.
Communication skills as one of the gaps that Yolandi, you are looking at, and how can that be improved? How can that be improved? In what ways can communication be made better?
By engaging more with staff, being proactive.
Can I come in here? I'm not going to talk about communication. So from the HR knowledge, I will make sure that the updating of records, knowing exactly what skill level we have. So things like how many senior managers are qualified as managers. If they are not qualified, then you will prepare them to attend a training to be more qualified.
Mm-hmm.
And then the staying up to date piece, we actually went through this in our organization last year, where HR sent out an email where they created a portal, and then all staff had to, what you call it, they had to upload their latest certifications and update their latest information. So this is how, if we're looking at bulletin number 3, this is how HR would basically stay up to date.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Updating, information or data on a certain platform. This is how your HR or HR within your organization ensure that there's credibility. Mm-hmm.
Incentivizing training as well. That will stimulate everyone to start uplifting themselves education-wise. If that is not incentivized, then people just slack and they're just not interested to improve themselves. So incentivize it. And
how can that be incentivized? Like if you attend a training, this is what you are going to get as soon as you get the qualification. How?
I will say more on completing the qualification, because you will get people attending and they leave without even getting a certificate. Get it more on the qualification once they have qualified, and you can incentivize them as much as, not just monetary wise, but promote them, give them responsibilities.
Like we
Empower
acknowledged.
them. Yeah, empower them.
Mm-hmm. And tell me, at the moment, besides that is not happening, do you also get some form of, paying back what has been paid for your skills programs? Do they pay back if they did not complete the program?
So we get to sign the service obligation contract, and should you not complete should you not complete your program, then you will have to pay back what was paid for. As much as should you leave the company within 2 years, because everything has been kept to 2 years, you will get to pay back the difference of months that are left.
Mm. So, but still, people, they can't quit, but still they are a bit demotivated because they are not getting any incentives for completing the programs like your promotion and stuff like that. Is there any succession planning sort of a program or something like that within your organization?
We are working around that we have a succession plan. If you look at the group that we have, Molefe, Yolanda, and me, we were on the generic management, and and now we're on this HRM.
The money, Casa, the money. Talking about the money, incentives. Where's the money?
The money will come, Molefe. You know, we just came out of the Section 189. Just be patient.
Okay,
Yeah.
and about, okay, Molefe, you can go ahead.
So I wanted to ask, when you speaking succession plan, are you talking more in terms of let me maybe say we've got Yolanda that's sitting at Bank City. Current role is services manager, reporting into an account manager. So are we talking, what's the succession plan in the event that the account manager is no longer there? And how do we upskill Yolanda to become an account manager? Is that what we're talking about?
Yes,
Okay.
because in
Okay.
a way that will also make Yolanda feel motivated to do certain programs because she knows that there is a plan that should this happen, she is the second in line.
Okay. Yolanda, do you guys have such a thing in your specific space?
No,
A
nothing.
succession plan?
No.
So what happens if the account manager resigns tomorrow? You guys don't know what's going to happen.
He's not interested in sharing the knowledge. It has been raised a few times, but yeah, it's just one of those that it's my baby, and yeah, let me
And
run it this
Yolanda,
way.
if one may ask, and I'm sorry to put you on the spotlight, what then motivates you to do these programs and many more?
It's more personal than any other thing. So it has nothing to do with the company, but with myself. And despite the challenges that we're having as a company, but to achieve something as an individual. So that's the only thing that motivates me right now.
Intrinsic
raised this?
motivation.
Yeah, sorry. Have you raised this with the transformation manager?
No.
Okay, you need to speak to the transformation manager, please.
Okay.
And who is that, if I may
And
ask,
who?
Molefe?
It's about to ask.
Duduzi.
Ah!
You're so funny. You know,
So
when Yolanda says the account manager is not interested to share the knowledge, you know, during difficult times, most people will tend to protect their jobs. And job protection is, I think it's in almost every organization, you'll get people that will not share everything with you. But if you work very close with that account manager and ask him to assist with whatever work that they're doing, that's how you get to understand the business that they are in or the work that they are in.
Yes, I wanted to say that because sometimes you also need to act and take an initiative to say, okay, I'm sitting here, what can I do to help? But now with us being understaffed, it also makes things difficult. So as soon as I leave, there is someone that I'm training and that's standing in for me as well. But it's just difficult with what we came from now, with what we went through last year. It's just difficult.
Who stands in
Yeah.
for him, if I may ask?
No one.
Okay.
I get you. And now, having given all the experiences and you know the positions that you are holding, tell me, how ready are you to take risks, to try new things despite the fear of rejection?
The fear will always be there. I spoke to him the other day. We had a meeting because I saw a gap to say, there's a manager that left and he would deal mostly with ATMs. I'm like, okay, let me just do something different. Let me see. If I fail, it's fine. And it's like, no, but I thought about it, but I don't think that will work. Okay, you are already saying it's not going to work, and yet I haven't even started. You can't say that. And it was like, okay, we'll look into it. And that was it.
Because somehow there is no belief or trust in that you can do it and you do it effectively. He can't trust you with doing that.
Not only me, I think everyone. That's just the way he is.
But you know
But-
what, Yolanda, can I just say something? And I think I've mentioned this to a couple of people. Our organization has an open door policy, and I've mentioned this multiple times. To understand, you don't have a blocker in one person. You understand? That person reports to another person, and that other person reports to another person. And because I'm in the same organization as you, to understand, I've actually multiple times, if my manager was a blocker, because we've been told of this open door policy, nothing stops you from going over his head, eh? I'm just saying, because you know what,
True,
you
true.
you displaying the right attributes in saying that, listen, you'd like to do something else. To understand? And if he's blocking it there, like I said earlier
But I
on,
didn't stop there
the
because we
transformation
spoke
manager
about
is
this.
also there. To
No,
understand?
I
So
just haven't involved the transformation manager, but we spoke about this because I looked at other ways that I can
Yeah.
do something else. Hence, I came to you.
Okay, speak to the transformation manager, please.
Okay, noted. Thank you.
And like you are saying, the organization could have several layers. If you can't get it, you can't get through this one, you still need to have to go to, beyond that level if you really want to put your neck on the line to be heard.
True.
And to challenge and to break, the status quo. Because the reason you want to do something, it means you are willing, and not that you know everything at the moment, but like any other person, some of these things you learn while you are doing.
True. I agree.
Thank you so much on that one. And are we all able to open our POEs? Or should I just share my POE with you?
I think Dieketseng and Yolanda might have challenged, or let me not speak for Dieketseng because it's not in the same organization. Yolanda, we were blocked. Okay, our internal IT blocked the attachments. Yeah, so chances are you don't have. So if you can maybe just put in your Gmail account into the chat, then we will either send it to you or Vutal will send it to you. But yeah, we've got our POEs.
Oh, okay. I'll respond to the email that you sent with my Gmail account.
Okay, cool.
Thank you. Thank you for clarifying that. And I've just opened my POE so that we can go through formative assessment 1 together. This is professional framework appropriate to business advisory practice, which we have just done now. And these are the questions. If you can just notify me if you can see what I'm showing here, the POE, formative assessment 1. Can you see it?
Can you try and make it bigger? Ooh.
Oh, okay.
My eyes are killing me.
All right.
Gasa, where your glasses, Baba? You mustn't come to class without your glasses on. Where your glasses?
Okay, I've made it a little bit bigger. Is it fine, or should I increase it again?
Much better. Thank you so much.
Okay. So now formative assessment 1 or formative activity 1, it says professional framework appropriate to business advisory practice. Note that for after every section, we're going to go through the formative assessment that is related to that section. And with this one, individually or in groups, under the guidance of the facilitator, complete the following. Number 1, as HR, we need to have HR knowledge, capabilities, credibility, and courage in order to successfully facilitate HR process in the organization. Complete the following table by providing answers to the questions listed in these 4 areas of professional framework. And this is where you are going to look into question 1, how does HR develop its own knowledge? That is HR knowledge. Remember, the HR knowledge here could be the policies and many more, procedures and so on. Then, induction programs and so on. What is good underpinning HR knowledge? So here you are also going to look into the good practice or good aspects that you can identify underpinning HR knowledge. You tell me if you don't understand, guys, or if you want me to further clarify on this, but I'll also give you some time to do this together as a group so that by the time you leave, you know how to approach the question on your own.
So just for my sake, so if they say, how does HR develop its own, right? So do you only just give one answer, or?
No, you have remember, you have a big space there provided, and you also have the marks. It's 11 times 2, meaning that you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's up to 11 questions, and each answer will be carrying 2 marks because it's 11 times 2. But remember, the more you give, the better with examples, because it shows some understanding so that you can get a full 2 marks.
Yeah, so let me ask this then. What would be the answers just for the first one? How does HR develop its own? How would you have answered this?
Remember how it's under the HR knowledge, isn't it? And I've just said the HR knowledge here that you are referring to, it could be the HR policies, it could be blah, blah, blah. And you look into how HR develops this, obviously or not obviously, but out of the experience or the common problems that you are getting, you are going to put or insert certain sections that you have currently experienced and agreed in a meeting, maybe that this is an issue and this is how we should deal with it, and you put that part in the policy. And you can give an example of such parts or sections. Let's say it's absconding, or maybe it's not submitting reports on time or something like that. Are you answered?
No, but it's fine. I'll consult with the teammates on the side. I don't want to hold you guys up.
Look, I will want to assist. So the HR knowledge here that we are referring to, it could be anything. Knowledge, remember, it could be anything that we create together as an HR department. And like I've said, it could be a policy, it could be a procedure. And for HR to develop its own HR knowledge, this could be dependent on the issues, problematic issues or challenges that we have experienced. Maybe the fact that we don't have anything that says people should start or should be in the office from 8 to 4. Or maybe we have that, but it doesn't really say, it's quiet about other things around that. Then it means that aspect, because we already have the policy, it will be inserted in that policy. But if it is an organization that is starting, that doesn't have all those, forms, templates and stuff like that, it means we are going to create the form or the procedure or the policy and all that. And that form or the policy or the procedure, it is the HR knowledge that we have created. Do you get what I'm talking about?
Okay, so as an answer, you need to identify what is not there and then give a solution for it. I'm just trying to understand how you
As
answer the
an
question.
answer, you explain how HR develop its own. So how it develops its own could be in a meeting set up, we agree to include, or we agree to come up, or we create a procedure or something.
Oh, okay.
And then you can mention, you can be specific on which procedure or
Okay.
on which policy. That
Okay.
is the HR knowledge.
Okay.
Are you clear now?
Yes.
Okay. And what is good underpinning HR? What is good that helps HR to work better?
Well, in this case, it will be clear training policies.
Yes, good, good. How does HR stay up to date? You need to put it in a
Updating,
yes, yes.
updating records frequently.
Yes,
getting
yes.
all the information from the facilitators in the
Don't tell
organization
it
on
all,
what they've.
because your answers shouldn't be the same.
Go for
And
it, T.
remember, guys, I'm going to also allow you to discuss this together so that you also know how. But after we have done this, you realize that there's not much that you will still need to be discussed. Ne?
Yeah.
Because it's a POE, every individual learner is supposed to have his or her own way of answering, even if the facts are the same, but don't put it the same way, because as an assessor, he or she might not know who has copied from who, if it's from word to word. Ne? So the next one, under capabilities, how are opportunities sought to enable HR to develop its capabilities? Let's try this one. How are opportunities sought in your environment? Remember before the COVID-19, most of the things were done face to face in an office. People will go, office. I mean, every day they'll go to the office. Even the trainings were, face to face and so on. But out of the experience that we had with the COVID-19, opportunities were sought or were discovered, or this brought a lot of other opportunities that we never thought of. So you can think about around those lines.
Yeah, so from on a technical perspective, I send out online training, and the guys get to register on the online, so it's open to everyone. Whereas with the face-to-face, it was limited. So now that we've moved over to the online training, it can be done anywhere, anytime, without any restrictions.
And that also increases the access to a lot of people. How do you know how capable your HR team is? How do you know? How do you know how capable your HR team is?
Lucy can answer that one. She's in HR.
It could also be through.
I'll answer on my POE.
Yes. But remember, others are also giving. That's a good one. That's a good one. But remember, others are also giving away what they're thinking, a little bit of it.
I'll share with you, Linda.
So it could also do the SWOT analysis. It could also, detect that from the reports that they have, isn't it? Are you thinking of something? Already earlier on, you have also said out of your observation from your experience, communication is lacking. So how did you get to that? That should be the answer to that.
But then can I ask something? Because this is a
Yes.
practical example, right?
Yes.
We've got an HR person right now in the class,
Mm-hmm.
and he's saying that she'll answer on a POE. So we could basically say this is how we're rating how capable HR is.
Mm-hmm.
Because she's refusing to share and she's from HR. Lucy, can we
You
have an
see,
answer,
that's an
please?
answer right there. That is a good answer to that question.
Yes. Lack of sharing information. How did you get to know about it?
HR. Okay.
Lucy, how else should DD and
You know, from my side, when I'm conducting the disciplinaries,
yes.
with the amount of data that they bring along, the reports that they bring along on the disciplinary, you can see that they are very, very capable, because they're able to gather and store individual information dating back to 5 to 10 years, based on their training, based on their past disciplinaries, and what they've done well. Thank you so much for the coffee. Sorry.
Thank you. You have given a lot. I just don't want everyone to write about everything that you are saying. Maybe like Lucy, you should spare some of the things for the portfolio.
Follow, I don't think you should interrupt Nduduzi because we are busy filling up our POEs here. So he's giving answers, please.
But I'm just coming in because Lucy didn't want to share as an HR person.
And I was just trying to understand what
We
he's saying,
there.
and
I'm
and then
writing
you cut
already.
him. Okay, I'm not
Why did you
writing,
cut
but I'm
him?
trying.
Okay, comrade, sorry, I withdraw.
Please,
Comrades.
the belief.
Oh man, Lucy.
Now you can continue. I've been
No, let's go to the
reprimanded
next
strongly.
question. Let's go to the next question.
The
But you're
next
not done with that
question.
one.
No, there was no, I covered that one.
He had actually said a lot of things there. The records are kept to a longer period of almost 10 years, something like that.
You see,
So,
you cut him off. We didn't
yeah,
get the
because
last
I
part.
didn't want you to get everything. You should still have a room to think. So now the next question, how do you assess whether you have the right capability balance for the team? How do you assess whether you have the right capability balance for the team? Remember here you check the skills that are necessary for the roles to be played in that segment, and you assess if you have them or not. And then you can be able to say you have the right balance or you don't have the right balance. But remember to use specific examples like this position or this role require, or this team require the researchers, the analysts, leadership and stuff like that. But we don't have the project skills, project management skills, and yet it is required. So therefore there's no right balance. It's just an example.
Yeah, you spot on there. So I normally request managers to keep a skills matrix of their team, and on that they will tick boxes like Molefe is a qualified ATM engineer, but he lacks printer knowledge, so we will need to upskill him on the printers.
Yes.
upskill him on whatever that is outstanding. Right now, he's attending the HRM, so the next training will be, let's look at getting him on the executive management training.
Yes, very good.
Yeah.
Thank
So nice.
you. And with that one, you got every credibility. What does HR do to ensure the business believes and trusts in HR capabilities and its solutions? So here it's looking or assessing what HR does in order to ensure the business believes and trusts in its capabilities.
They manage the HRM system quite well. That's one of the things that they do.
And you justify that well by giving a reason.
Okay, like your
Or an
leave
example.
balances, when people place their leave into the system, if you had 15 days, you take 5, they'll deduct the 5, make it 10. You will get comms from the HRM system to say that this is your leave balances, etc.
Thank you. And remember,
Just to add on what Molefe is saying, it also depends on the software that the HR department will introduce to make it easy for the employees to update their records. Like what he's saying, we're using Sage to update our leave records. We're using Sage to access our pay slips and so forth. So yeah,
we are
that helps a
also
lot.
using Sage,
Yes, we're using Sage.
and it's also very user friendly.
Yeah, up to you get to the reports. We need training. You see, you can bring in a number of software applications if there isn't sufficient training, and then it becomes a challenge because now everything is test and try.
Thank you. And it boils back to this module where facilitation has to take place. So the HR need to play that role of facilitating how the SAGE system can be used effectively. Because remember, within the organization, you also have people who are not IT service, and I mean, they are not good in that. They're not conversant with that. So you need to train them before they can be able to use it. And that's where facilitation skills come in. Thank you. How does HR develop its overall credibility and the credibility of individuals, that is self-belief, perseverance, and demonstrated success? And this is also linked to the previous question because it's also around credibility, ensuring that it develops its overall credibility. If the systems that HR is coming with are not credible, when you had or you think you have applied for 3 days, initially you had 13 days, but you realize that the balance is not the same, then the system cannot be trusted, isn't it? But if it gives you the same balance and all that, and every time you want to use it, you know, you can still use it effectively, and the system is not always down and stuff like that, you can be able to trust.
Can I also ask a question? So
Yes.
if HR is keeping proper files on all the employees, right? And HR is running well. In essence, HR should facilitate training for all employees based on their specific files, right? And then HR should also link up with positions like transformation managers to ensure that transformation happens within the organization, right?
Of course.
So by
Remember,
doing that, it then gains that credibility to say that even if the employees don't do anything. For example, Yolanda is there, right? Yolanda acquires generic management, what you call it, certificate. Yolanda acquires the HR management certificate. HR should then initiate that. Listen here, Yolanda's file is now updated with these two things. Yolanda's got the right skills. Yolanda is now due for an increase. Do you understand? Speak to people like the transformation manager to make sure that such things are done. That's how you acquire credibility.
Yes, remember, HR is like a service provider to the business. And
Yes.
therefore, it means everything that is people related in an organization, HR should be there to advise. HR should play a very significant role in ensuring that any people related aspect within the business is taken care of. And if it's
True.
Yolanda's performance, or if it's Yolanda's upward mobility and so on, HR has to be involved.
Okay.
Are we good?
Yes.
Thank you. Can we move on? So if you look at this, where were we, guys? We were not yet in number 2. So if you look at all this, they talk to the module that we have just done. So we're just on credibility there. Then courageous leadership. What are you doing to ensure you are successful tomorrow? Part of what you are doing, this is you saying what you are doing. And if you are referring to an organization, you should say, as an organization, we are, so that even the assessor can see that you are talking from the team's perspective, or the organization's perspective, or individual's perspective.
Does this
So,
you refer to you as an HRU, since we are on an HR course?
yes.
Okay,
And
not you, the
remember,
individual, right? You
as
as HR.
remember, as an individual in a work environment, you become an employee. You are HR related.
Oh,
Mm.
okay. Get you.
Unless
Get
if
you.
you are talking about the HR department, or as a team, HR team, or something like that. Ne?
So the example that was given earlier to say that she's going to current manager, seeing if she can get the necessary skills in the event that the manager is not there. Something like that would be correct for this
Yes, something
question.
like that would be correct. Remember, with the POE, the relevance is all about what the question is asking about.
Okay.
That is, I don't have any time as the assessor to go and investigate. But what is relevant to me as the assessor is when you are saying what you are doing in line with what the question is asking for.
So there's no wrong answer. Okay, cool.
Yeah, there are some
There
wrong,
are wrong
because if
answers.
it says why and you don't give reasons, then you are wrong.
Okay.
And don't say refer to Yolanda for this question and the next question.
Hey, I was gonna do that, eh?
Yeah, but I agree. You have put Yolandi on the spot. Eh? How ready are you to take risks? Try new things despite the fear of rejection.
Refer to Yolanda.
Yes, again.
But you put yourself in Yolandi's shoes. I don't want to hear you saying Yolandi. You must say you, as a team, as an individual employee, or as an HR practitioner.
You know, Fudo, they say if you don't take risk, you will never reap the benefits. So
Yes.
so you must welcome the rejection, and if you fail today, tomorrow you will succeed.
But explain it in a way that somebody who is marking will see that you understand the question, or you have understood the question.
Okay.
And there's no harm in giving examples. In fact, that is one way of showing that you really understand what you're talking about. How ready are you to take risks? Try new things despite the fear. Remember, if you are not ready, you can also say, I think I'm not that ready, because when it's time for me to take risks or to, try new things, this is how I feel, and I end up not doing that. That's how ready you are. You are not so ready. And somebody can say, I'm really ready because I normally take risks. I go for things that have not been done, and that's what makes me feel better. For example, I've done this or tried this.
Fulo, it also depends on your reporting manager. If your reporting manager is okay with you making mistakes, because sometimes your mistakes will end you, will lead you to a disciplinary.
Yes,
That
yes,
why were the rules not followed? Why did you
it's true.
do
It's
something
true.
different from what the business model is?
Yes.
So
it's true.
if your manager gives you a carte blanche of trying things and without you being prosecuted the following day, then I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
That goes to the directors. Sometimes the directors will say, hey, I've got one director there to always say to me, come to me with an answer. Don't come to me with a problem.
With a question, or even
Yes.
if you
So
you
come to
come
me and
with a
say,
problem, but
Mhm.
have an alternative option that can
Yes.
serve as a solution to the problem that you are bringing.
Yeah.
But that on its own, it helps you to think of
Oh.
taking risk. But I know of situations where somebody, after a training like this or any other innovative training, you come very fired and you want to try something new. But when you talk to your immediate supervisor or manager, he says, no, we don't, he can't give you that platform. And therefore, it means you can't try new things. So you can't take any risk. So I think this goes back to the next one. Are you willing to put your neck on the line, to challenge, to break, or to mold?
No.
So
That's you can't say that, Mulife.
No is an answer,
that's your
right?
character.
if you say no, you need to justify. Still, if you say yes, you need to justify. Don't just put a yes or a no.
So if I say no, I'm not willing to. That's my justification.
And you state the reasons why you don't want to.
No reason.
There must be a reason.
Can I just
If
hear
you-
from Mr. Gaza? Gaza, why are you saying this is my character? What are you
That's
talking-
your character. I mean,
But
you
he's
you
right,
always
that's who
stand
you
your
are.
ground, Mulife. If you believe in something that you want to do, or you believe in yourself, you always go for it.
I'm sending you money. I'm sending you money now. Check your phone.
Yeah,
E-wallet is
that's a
coming.
plus, eh? That's a plus. So explain how you will develop these 4 areas of the professional framework for yourself and your team. So now you are focusing on yourself and your team, and it means even the first one, you were, of course, considering yourself or your team, and therefore you can come up with a developmental plan on question 2 there. Are we still together?
So your development plan will be around updating
Those
your
areas
policies.
we have mentioned earlier on
Yeah.
in one.
Okay.
Remember, for example, if under a courageous leadership, you have said, are you willing to put your neck? And you said no. It means you lack this, you are not good at this, you are weak at this. And therefore, it means under 2, you are going to say under courageous leadership, you need to say how we can develop this. Maybe you must have a small chat with Mulifi and Was it Mulifi or yeah, Mulifi? And then you can have a small chart on how he does that so that it can help you develop your team or yourself.
Definitely do that.
Time is up. Thank you.
Thank you. So that is your 2. And your 3, brainstorm to find at least 4 practices or criteria that a professional and ethical framework for an HR advisory practice should include. You are brainstorming, you are thinking out of the box. Ne? And you need to think of how many, 4. And it means you need to explain that because you have a total of 8 marks there.
Okay.
Are we good?
Now we could just on one question here.
Yes.
These questions that are asking, these are not coming from Regenesis, right? These are SETA aligned questions.
These are SETA aligned questions. We're doing this for the.
Yeah. I'm just saying because some of the questions are very.
No, this is all for the purposes of learning, and these are SETA related standards.
And follow, you've got a memo, ne?
I don't
Yeah,
have a
it does.
memo. I don't work with a memo. I'm working with adults who think differently. And
I know you've got that memo. I know.
and the
assessor and a
questions
moderator
here
would
are
always
going
have
to
a
be
memo.
responded to according to the
Oh.
relevance to the question.
Hold on. Who marked our first POE?
I
Fulufelo.
can't tell. I won't be able to say.
I saw your signature there, Fulu.
You saw my signature,
Yeah.
and you were
I'm
competent.
not gonna mention any names. I'm gonna put someone on the block here.
Yes, let's hear.
Someone was found incompetent. Not,
We all know it is.
No. It said incompetent, not yet incompetent, not yet competent.
You are full of jokes.
That was harsh, Fulu.
So, but the reason we are doing all this is because I want you to be found competent, with your first attempt. Because I
Yes.
know I'm working with adults who have different roles that they're playing and on a much higher levels and stuff like. You don't have time to wait. So rather do it once and you do it the right way.
The right way.
Yes.
Yeah, but it's frustrating if you keep on answering the same question over and over. We end up saying refer to FA 11. I mean, you're asking the same question.
Refer to. You must never write refer to. It's because that unit standard
Is it testing you to see if what you answered on FA 10?
No, it's the unit standard. What is it? The learning outcome criteria that needs to be tested there. You'll find that there's a slight difference in the questions.
There isn't. It's exactly the same. I mean, with the last POE, I don't know how many contracts I had to draw.
A lot.
You're drawing the
thing.
same. The only thing that you're changing is the
Question number.
The name.
No.
The name of the person.
Yeah, you're just changing the position and.
Yes.
Yes, rather do that if you want to be competent.
I
know with people who have been doing a lot of academic work, when you come to the POEs, it gets a bit frustrating. It feels like you are redundant, but you have to answer all the questions. Don't say refer to and refer the assessor to another question or to another pamphlet and so on.
There was a lot of refers.
Hey.
You don't refer that. I kept on writing to some of the POEs. Hey, you don't refer, you have to answer the question.
But now, pity that I cannot share here because the question 12 and the question 13 was problematic. From question 12, it says complete the task 13, which is exactly the same. Then asking no comma to full stop, everything is the same.
Which
So I
module are you
skipped
talking about?
the last POE on what is it? I'll tell
Is
you
it
now.
legislation?
Yes.
Because I need to go and check it. But remember, if it's human error, I also apologize for that because that could also be the issue, but we need to look at it so that we correct it for
I
the
just
future
hope they
class.
don't find me because I skipped that task 13 and I went to FA 13, which was exactly that. But
It
yeah,
will
we'll
all
discuss.
depend, but whatever, feedback that you are going to get, you'll also get the comments.
Yes, yes. Okay.
So
No,
basically,
definitely.
if you look at what is left here, that is number 4. In small groups, create a short presentation of the principles of client care, client confidentiality, ethics and professionalism, maintaining objectivity, and so on. Remember, for
Time
this,
is up, Fulu.
Kulu is
try.
enjoying this. He doesn't want to let go.
Yeah, time is
you
up.
are the
Try,
one.
you
try,
You
Kona.
guys are
you
enjoying
try.
this.
Let's
By the
stop
way,
it, yeah?
we waited for others.
Yeah,
And
yeah, this is for
started,
Yolanda.
somewhere 10 past, except for Yolande. And we can stay a bit longer because of
Yes.
Yolande.
Yeah,
That
true.
has nothing to do with me. It means we all have time management issues, including you, Fulu.
Oh,
Others are very, they are late to start, others are late to finish. So look, guys, I just wanted to finish this part before we can go. So when you do the group, you can arrange and have groups online or whichever way. And you can also simulate. Remember, with the POEs, if you don't have readily found evidence, you can always simulate. Ne?
yes.
So by the way, today we have ended up in activity 1. You can just go through that up until the last question in formative activity 1. But if you look at all that, it's all around the information that we have done today. And you can also go through your learner guides.
Yeah. May I suggest that the next time maybe we complete a formative activity and at the end of your presentation we can just quickly go over the questions.
Come again. We
I'm
were
saying,
going through the questions now.
Yeah, may I suggest that we complete the formative activity and then at the end of your session we can just go over what we've completed.
We only have 2 hours.
Yeah,
How
it's
practically
30
possible
minutes.
is that?
Right now, we're going over the questions and we're trying to answer as we go along. But if you answer and then you come into class with the answers, then we can make sense of all these questions here, or direct us if we are correct or not correct.
Agreed, comrade. Viva.
I just want to understand what you are saying. You want
Okay,
us
easy.
to
I'm
do
gonna
to
go.
do the questions like today, like after the session,
No,
30
not-
minutes, just 30
no.
minutes before we finish.
No.
Let me
Listen
hear
to what
you
I'm
well.
saying. Yeah. So for the next session, if we have to complete FA2, we complete it before attending the class.
Oh.
So when we go over the FA, we've already got the answers. It's either you tell us if our answer is right or wrong. Whereas right now we are answering as we are going along.
I get you. I get
Homework.
Yeah.
The reason we had to do or
Nicely
go
put,
through
Mulife, homework.
the reason we had to go through the questions after the facilitation, I thought we need to have, although we have people who are dealing with that, you already know what it's all about, because now you'll be having your study guides, learner guides, we can be able to do that. So meaning that for the next session, go and do formative activity 2 and 3.
Okay, that makes sense. I'm happy with that.
So in essence, I'm saying I'm agreeing. If you don't find any problem with that, I'm agreeing. That will also make our work much more easier because you will have gone through the questions. And after the facilitation, the last 30 minutes or an hour, we go through what you have done.
With the memo, yes.
Thank you.
She's got the
There's
memo
no
on the side.
memo. Obviously, I'll give you the guidance and I'll
Yes.
also say, yes, you are on the right track. If you can, something like that, it will happen and it will help with the progress.
Okay, I'm happy with that. So we've got
Okay.
homework, so it's 2 and 3. In fact, it's 1, 2, and 3 because
Thank
some
you.
of us have not even started.
Yeah, thank you so much. And this will help with your progress of finishing the POE
In time.
in time. Yes.
I'm happy with that. I'm happy.
Okay.
Amen. Thank you.
And in
Follow
fact,
until we meet again on Saturday. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you.
thank you so much. Have a lovely one.
Cheers, bye.
For
Bye.
Neil. Asikakhohlwa.
Man, aye,
Didi,
aye,
I'm here.
aye.
I'm here,
This
Didi.
is the wrong forum. Aye, aye, aye. Order, order, order,
I
order.
am
Neil.
here, Didi. I am
Oh.
here.
Usuthu.
Didi.
Earlier on, you were very wrong. You said I was the one who was enjoying the class. It seems like you are the guys who are enjoying to stay in this class. You have been saying goodbye, I'm leaving, and so on. And yet you're still here.
We are doing group work.
we like family, Fulu. After this, we're gonna carry on.
Yes,
We've got a group on the side, so we just carry
I
on.
agree.
Small group.
I agree. Thank you so much, guys.
you.
Enjoy the rest of your
You
weekend.
too. Bye bye.
Thank you.
Bye.